First of all, I want to say hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Jen, and this is my channel, Highway Bound. We are going to be diving into trucking news, regulations, laws, kind of the boring stuff, but we're going to kind of dive a little bit deeper. We're also going to be writing some opinion pieces about what drivers are actually going through, regardless of what's on paper, regardless of what the media or the government say. And that's what I'm going to start my first video on. Is I think it's a pretty significant issue that a lot of people are mislabeling, which is why it's not being resolved and it's becoming worse. So with that being said, let's go ahead and grab a cup of coffee. Let's sit back and relax. If you guys are driving currently, please be safe. Try not to get too upset with what I'm about to say. Make sure to stay safe out there. We love you. And when I say we, I mean all of us watching currently. And let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm sure a lot of us have seen over the last few years that there is something happening currently on our highways. And it seems like we are losing more and more of our good drivers, good quality drivers, drivers that have been in this industry for 10, 20, 30 years. And that's not just a coincidence. Even new drivers, even people that have just gone through driving school, they finally land a job with a mega carrier. They go through the training, they go through the orientation, they train with a trainer for 6 weeks, get off the truck, finally get their own truck, finally doing their own thing, and then they quit after 6 months. The problem that we are currently going through is not a driver shortage problem. There are plenty of people, men and women out there, that are going through this entire process to become a truck driver. And then by the time they get to their own truck, they get out on the road, they start earning money as a solo driver or a team driver, whichever, they quit because they realize how crappy companies are treating drivers. Everybody tells you that the first year as a driver is going to be your worst year. And that's true. You're going to get the worst loads. You're going to get the lowest pay, the worst jobs, because the vets that have been out for a few years, they don't want to do them because they know that they're crappy jobs. So you kind of get left with the leftovers. That's expected. But on top of that, it becomes this nightmare of dispatch just not being adequate. There are some really great dispatchers out there, and this is no disrespect to the men and women that know how to run 15, 20, 25 trucks at a time. Hats off to you. Having to deal with 25 drivers at a time, and drivers can get kind of whiny depending on the situation, hats off to you. However, there are a lot of dispatchers that don't have any experience in this industry, and it shows. And they usually get stuck with the newer drivers. New driver doesn't know any better. They're brand new, right? Like, of course, we're going to put the noobs with the noobs, right? Like, that logically makes sense. But what happens when you do this is these new drivers are like, man, this sucks. Because they think that this is just how it is. That it's not the lack of experience with the dispatcher, it's just how the industry works. And that's not true. If you have a great dispatcher, you are going to have a great experience as a driver. But the problem is a lot of people don't. They don't have good dispatchers, right? So you go through for about 6 months. They can't do it anymore. The hours suck. The pay is low. They don't see their family or friends. They miss birthdays. They miss recitals, all that stuff. And it's just too much. They get lonely. They're not used to being by themselves. Most people are not okay with being by themselves. So it's already a difficult career, just that. And then they leave. And this happens every single year. 90% turnover rate for big carriers. It's insane. But we have a driver shortage problem. No, 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 no. That's not it. I don't know if you guys have ever been bored on a Friday night at a truck stop or whatever, taking a break, and you call the recruitment departments of different companies. If you want a good laugh, you'll go and do that. So here's the problem. When these new driver or any driver, specifically newer drivers that come in, they are promised the world, right? They constantly tell you, oh, it's the open road. You get to see the country. You get freedom. You get good pay. We're paying drivers up to $90,000, $100,000 a year. You get to do this and this and that. And it sounds great. It hooked me in. I read the ads. I read the job descriptions. That's what hooked me in. The open road, the freedom, and the pay. But once they get in, they get chewed up and spit out by a system that seems that it wants nothing to do but just to break them, to turn them into robots, right? Like that's what it feels like. It feels like more and more the demand is so high right now that we're constant. We get lectured about stopping for a bathroom break. We get lectured for stopping to get whatever. We're expected to just keep running, but somehow maintain safety and maintain our regulations. Another thing that I don't think people understand is the other part of this, the veterans, the drivers that have been out for a very long time. Drivers that have been out for 20, 30, 40 plus years. The men and women that have seen just how far this industry has declined over the years. The average age for truck driving is in the late 40s. That's the average. We are looking at a demographic time bomb. And honestly, it's already going off, right? There is going to be a massive amount of retirements, especially in the next 10 to 15 years. But we're not retaining new drivers that are coming into the industry. The new drivers coming in around 25 years old, they make up a very tiny portion of that. And that portion it's shrinking significantly. Think about it for a second. They look at the job and they see insane hours. They see massive stress and they see a lifestyle that just most people would be miserable doing what we do. It's not a normal lifestyle, right? It's not a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, same schedule every single day, every single week. It's different every single day. It's by yourself every single day for weeks at a time. And a lot of younger guys, or men and women, they're just not coming into the industry. So what I would classify as probably the number one reason people consider getting into the industry, and that's probably the big paycheck. You see it in every job ad on Monster, Career Builder, whatever. Whoa, you can make six figures as a driver on this account or with this company. You can, but it's not easy. It's taken me several years to really understand how to get up to the higher level of these pay grades for these particular accounts. It's not easy. And when you're brand new, you don't know anything about time management. You don't know anything about trip planning. You don't know anything about delivering early or getting familiar with the roads and the interstates. And if you're going to a dedicated account, like getting familiar with the locations that you're going to, you don't know any of this. So it's that much harder. So you're not going to be on the top part of the pay scale for that particular account or for that company. But nobody talks about that. Recruiters aren't going to sit here and tell you that it takes, if you're out on the road. Now, if you're local and you can get in to a company that is paying pretty well, yeah, you can come out the bat, but it's very difficult to get into a company that does that. I think a lot of people don't realize that drivers don't get paid by the hour, we get paid by the mile. So if we are not moving our truck, we are not getting paid. That's how that works. Okay, there's no overtime, there's nothing like that. And I also don't think that people understand just how much of our day is spent sitting still. Okay? Let me kind of put it into a real world perspective. Maybe you're watching this and you're not a driver, you've never been a driver, you're just curious about this issue. Okay? Let's say, for example, you clock into work, you go to sit at your desk, and you sign into your computer, but your boss says, okay, what I want you to do is you're going to sit here for 3 hours and you're not going to get paid for it. But you have to be on call and you have to be ready in case we let you start sooner. So you can't go anywhere. You have to stay right here and wait. But you're not going to get paid for the first 3 hours that you're here. Would you do that? Would you allow that in your life? No. In the corporate world, are you kidding? Most people would quit. Drivers, it's just another day, right? It's part of the industry. It's part of the process. And then that's not including after that third hour, yeah, you might get probably 15, 20 bucks an hour. It doesn't equate to what you could be making if you were actually driving. So you're sitting there for 5 hours. You get paid 40 bucks for 5 hours. That's less than minimum wage in most states. 5 hours. 40 bucks. Is it worth it? I could make more at McDonald's per hour and have way less responsibility and way less stress than doing what I do currently. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my job. I've actually found a very good account. The company is what it is. It's a mega carrier and it's hit or miss. Honestly, it depends on your dispatcher. But the account I'm on is like a diamond in the rough. It's great miles, decent pay for the current market. I'm happy. I'm off on the weekends, so I'm able to really sit down and provide better quality video like this, which is why I'm starting to work on this. I love it. I have finally found my place, my little nook and cranny in this industry. But a lot of drivers leave before they find that. It took me 8 years almost, 7.5. Took me a while. And I had to go through some stuff in order to get there. But I finally found it. A lot of drivers don't have that patience. They don't have the energy or the time or the desire to actually wait that long. It shouldn't have to be that long. The first year is going to suck. It doesn't matter what industry you go into. Your first couple of years are going to suck until you gain that experience. But after that, we still shouldn't be getting treated the way we're getting treated. So not only is the pay, there's some hoops you got to jump through in order to get to those points with most companies and most accounts. Not only that, but we also have what I like to call the regulation nightmare. We have so many rules and laws and regulations and things that we need to make sure that we are 100% compliant with at all times. We cannot falter at any time. We cannot be a human being and make a mistake at any time. Because if we do, the consequence can be huge, depending on the mistake, depending on what happens, depending on the situation. I think one of the big things that newer drivers struggle with is hours of service, making sure that they have plenty of time to find a place to park, making sure that they really understand time management, how to stop the clock, if their company actually allows them to stop the clocks, which is a whole other subject. The split sleeper is very important, probably one of the biggest beneficial things that have come to play in recent years is the split sleeper. Basically, if you get stuck at a shipper or receiver for at least 2 hours, it'll stop your 14, which is nice. Now, some companies, I've actually driven for one before that changed the rules of the split sleeper. Like you would have to do the full 7 hours, at least 7 hours first before you could split. You couldn't do 2 hours at a shipper or receiver first, and then it stop your 14, and then continue driving. What's the point of this rule if you're not going to let me use it to my advantage to help me take care of what I need to do and stay legal, which is probably the number one priority for me and the company, and to stay safe? I don't think that's right. I really struggle with that. The company I'm with currently they don't allow PC at all. No PC, unless it's like an absolute dire emergency. And you have to call safety and go through like a 27-step process to even get approval. They talk about staying safe, taking care of yourself, and staying legal. And this kind of stuff right here is why drivers are leaving. Because we get treated like garbage. It's a federal law. I have right to PC, right? Like, anyways, sorry, it's a little bit of a tangent. But hours of service is a big problem because a lot of drivers, they mess up on their hours of service. And it's that and the ELDs and those becoming mandatory. And you basically have this box dictating your entire day, telling you when you're allowed to take a break, telling you that you need to pull over and take a break, telling you all these things, monitoring every little thing that you do. We have the ELD, and now, even more than ever, we've got these driver-facing cameras. That is something that, if that becomes a mandatory requirement, I am leaving the industry. I know there are drivers out there that are totally okay with it, and their argument and excuse is if you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to worry about. And that's not my issue. As a woman, I have heard many, many stories from drivers that are parked for the night and they get a phone call from dispatch or safety asking them why they are doing whatever they're doing after they're parked for the night, when that is technically it's not even supposed to be running except for a, what do they call it, a hard event or something like that, like you brake too hard or you turn too fast. It's not even supposed to be running. I've heard countless stories about this, and I've told myself I will never ever run for a company that has a driver-facing camera. I won't do it. These are the things that are driving people away. These are the things that are driving drivers away. Stop treating us like robots. Stop having computers tell us when we need to do what you want us to do, not what our body is trying to tell us what to do. Hey, my body is telling me I need to rest. You are telling me I need to drive 6 more hours because I'm about to lose time on my clock, which means if I don't drive these 6 hours, I'm not going to make this impossible appointment time. You see what I'm saying? This is why we have a driver shortage. Another huge problem, a big problem, is parking, especially in the East Coast. The Midwest, I don't really struggle with parking very much. However, let me clarify, I don't park at big 3 truck stops anymore. Only time I will park at a Love's overnight is if I get there very early and I wasn't able to take a shower for my 30-minute break. It's the only time. Other than that, I park at mom and pop's. It's usually a dirt lot attached to a gas station. You've got all of the old timers there, all the vets, long noses everywhere. It's quiet. It's dark. Nobody's going to bother you. Nobody's going to hit your truck because they're inexperienced. I never have a problem in the Midwest. The East Coast, it just sucks. Especially the Northeast. They have got to fix this problem. You cannot be anti-truck. You cannot be anti-driver and treat drivers like giant piles of crap and overcharge them on your tolls and gas and charge them $25-30 a night for a shower and to park. You can't do all of this and not provide us with more parking. You can't do this. Why would anybody want to go to the Northeast willingly? I don't get it. God bless anybody that, especially if you drive the five borough. Like, y'all, you can call me whatever you want, a steering wheel holder, a rookie, I don't care. You could not pay me enough. Look, I am not stupid. I have nothing to prove to anybody. No, sir. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I've been to Chicago. I've been downtown Chicago once. I will never go back to Chicago. I have been downtown Pittsburgh, downtown Philadelphia. I will never go back. I've never been down into New York City, and I will never go to New York City. Like, you cannot expect us to be safe and not be fatigued and not be tired on the roads, and then on top of that, not provide us with adequate parking. This has got to get fixed. We cannot continue like this. And we're in a driver shortage. Imagine if we were at full capacity. What would you do? Parking on ramps and off ramps it's stupidly dangerous. Rest areas. Have you guys seen rest areas at night? If you are not a driver, I want you to go on the interstate at about 9 o'clock at night and look at the rest areas. Because the entrance ramp leading up to the rest area, there are trucks lined up all down the interstate on that ramp. The exit ramp for that rest area, the same thing. This is a huge, huge problem. And then when we try to park at Walmart's or other locations, the driver's doing their job correctly. They'll call the store manager, will be like, yeah, that's fine. You can park here overnight. And then they wake up to a boot because the city doesn't want drivers there. Okay, so what are we supposed to do? It's a huge problem that needs to be fixed. Let's talk about what I like to classify as the silent struggle. And this is a little on the personal side for me as well, because I have been struggling with mental health for a while now when it comes to this job. Just the combination of the job and my personal life. Okay. So this hits a little close, but it is important. We do need to talk about it, and we need to figure out a solution. These are the type of things that don't show up on quarterly reports. You go inside a truck stop and you sit down and you just watch. I don't know if you guys like the people watch, but I do. It's just, I don't know, kind of interesting. You can see it on a lot of drivers' faces nowadays. A lot of drivers are mentally, physically, and emotionally out of shape. Their health is failing. We typically live about 15 years less than the average person. As a truck driver, I think the average age of death is 67, if I remember correctly, which is huge. We have to start asking the question, why is this happening? Why is it that at truck stops, we cannot find healthy options to eat? Why is it at truck stops we cannot have some type of workout facility or, some type of program to help us? Why can't companies provide like a mental health option available that pays for more than 5 appointments? Like the company I'm with now, I believe they pay for the first 5, but after that, it's a very high price. Why can't there be like an actual service within the company itself, a counseling service for drivers? I think that would be a really great option. These are the things that we need to think about. And on top of all of this, I think just the daily stress of what we have to go through for running late, dispatches up our butts, shipper and receiver. We know when we get there, we're going to have to wait probably a whole day because we're going to be late. We're going to be behind. Our entire week is messed up. We're not going to make that next appointment, which is going to mess up the rest of the week. So we're not going to make the paycheck we had originally planned for, which means we're probably going to have to find scraps because we don't know when we're going to get out of the receiver once they finally unload us. We have to deal with traffic. We have to deal with crappy drivers cutting us off. And also just people in general just kind of treating us like garbage. I don't know if this has happened to any of y'all, but I've noticed recently it seems like a lot of individuals that work at shippers and receivers, they seem to be kind of a little more edgy, a little more on edge than normal. And I don't know what that's about. I've dealt with some seriously rude people, a lot more than usual. And I have retail management experience. I have customer service experience. I know how to talk to people. I know how to interact with people. Um, I literally walk into these places and it's just like instant attitude. And I don't know if anybody else has noticed that lately, but it seems like the last few months it's been really bad. The physical health is a big deal. This is something I think a lot of us are dealing with right now, me included. This is part of me as well. The sedentary lifestyle is a huge problem. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, probably way more common in truckers than any other part of society itself. Typically, the food at truck stops is garbage. It's just fast food junk. Some of these places have gotten better in terms of variety and healthier options. But those healthy options you have to be careful with, because if you actually look at the ingredient lists and all that kind of stuff, it's just as bad as the other stuff that's a lot cheaper. Sleep is a big deal. Oh my gosh. Sleep, not getting enough sleep, 7 to 9 hours. It will destroy any progress you make in your physical health. I'm pretty sure sleep is the most important part of the physical side, and we're not getting it. We're running crazy hours. There'll be one day I wake up at 4 in the morning, start my day, and then the next day I have to wake up overnight, right? Like, it's just like you're all over the place. Like, basically you're on call for 24/7, and you have to be able to just magically park your truck and go for 10 hours and kind of wind down from the day, go inside, do your night routine with the hygiene, whether that's shower, bathroom, all that kind of stuff. And then you got to come back to the truck and like actually kind of do something you want to do, whether that's play a video game or read or spend time talking to people that you care about and love, or watching TV if you've got a TV in your truck. It's all these things. And you have 10 hours to unwind and do something you want to do and go to sleep and get 7 to 9 hours of sleep and then wake up and just magically be okay and do it all over again. That's the expectation. We do everything inside of our truck for weeks at a time, some of us. We eat, we sleep. It's our office. It's everything. We request home time and we don't get it. We miss birthdays, recitals, graduations, funerals, weddings. We miss it all. And then the people at home, they get fed up after a while, right? And then it turns into more isolation because you lose more people in your life. This is the harsh reality of this industry. This industry will absolutely destroy every part of you. And a lot of new drivers face a very harsh reality when they get into the industry. And this is why we are losing drivers. I know this has been kind of grim. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is kind of a depressing video, but it's reality. I am so tired of media and the government and the people around me that have never been in that seat telling me what is wrong with this industry, why we have a driver shortage. If you are saying we have a driver shortage, you're not listening. You don't know. It's not a shortage. It's a retention problem. I'd like to ask you guys to do me a favor. If you guys have any comments, if you have any viewpoints on this, just leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. As you can see, this is a very different video from what I was doing originally on this channel. So if this is something you guys enjoy and you want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a new video, and like, comment, all that good stuff. Helps boost the algorithm. YouTube is all about numbers, and that would really help me, so I appreciate it. So after all that inspiring information, what can we do to fix the problem? How can we keep drivers? Well, I mean, honestly, it's basically the opposite of what I just said. You can't expect people to come into the industry and then treat them like piles of garbage and then expect them to stay. can't treat people like robots and question everything they do when all they want to do is just pull over and use the bathroom instead of using the bathroom inside their truck. Come on. Treat us with respect. Some drivers need to learn some manners, yes. Some drivers need to work on their customer service skills, yes. Okay, we need to learn how to talk to people. I know we're by ourselves, but we do need to learn how to talk to people. However, more so than not, we get disrespected a lot more, though. I think something that we should put out there for people to kind of mull over is how we get paid. I think our pay system currently is pretty archaic. The detention pay especially needs to be drastically overhauled. I mean, I think we really need to look at the reality of detention pay should start after the first hour, in my opinion. I really do think so. I think that would allow the shippers and receivers to work quicker, and which in turn would put more money into our pockets because we can get going faster, right? Like, I think it would really kind of kick these guys in the butt. Because again, if the people in the warehouse have never driven a truck, they don't understand how important time is for us. So I think detention pay needs to change. I don't think it should be 2 or 3 hours. I think it should be after the first hour. Shoot. Make it right when you stop. I believe it's Martin. I don't know if they still do this, but a few years ago, the second you stopped, the second you were at that shipper receiver, you were getting detention pay. I think it was Martin. That's the way it should be. But I'll take a first hour. Some people say pay by the hour. I don't know. I mean, that's from an economic standpoint, we'd have to look at the possibility of what that means, what type of impact that's going to cause on the industry as a whole. It's not just as simple as, oh, let's switch over to hourly pay. But we've got to do something different. We've got to do something different. We have to have like a minimum, a weekly minimum or something. I don't know. But we really need to reevaluate how we get paid every week. I think another big issue is the hours of service. I think the majority of those clocks need to be taken away. I understand that the split sleeper will stop the 14-hour after a certain amount of time. But what I'm trying to say is we should not even need that part of the rule. We should not have a 14-hour clock to begin with. I think we should be allowed to drive 12 hours a day, a max 12 hours in a 24-hour period. And after we hit that 12 hours, we have to take, 8 hours break to reset it. Something like that. Really need 2 hours of service because it's not working. It's not working. Look at how many crashes we have compared to what we had before. Look at the type of crashes, how much more deadly and fatal they've been, especially the last few years, especially after the pandemic. The hours of service does not work. Yes, on paper it looks great. There was a couple guys at a table in the office at Washington, D.C. somewhere. Oh, yeah, this is going to keep our roads safe. How's that working out for you, bud? It's not. It's horrible. It doesn't do anything. It puts more stress and makes drivers rush even more because you are literally have a countdown just ticking away. Change our pay. Change how we're paid. Get rid of these damn clocks. Those 2 things alone? Oh my gosh. You don't even have to change per mile. You can just make it detention pay is immediate. And you would see a significant difference. The whole industry would be more efficient. Like I said, warehouses want to pay for them to just sit there. They would get them out quicker, which means we would be on the road faster, making more money sooner. See how that works? Oh, hello. It's not that hard. I think the third thing also is the parking crisis. We have got to work on parking. Now, I have seen over the last couple of years that a lot of states have been tearing down old rest areas and creating larger rest areas, which I think is a good start. But it's going to take years and years and years for this to finally become noticeable for truck drivers. I have seen the effort, and as a truck driver, I want to say thank you guys for actually listening to what we have to say, to actually looking at the data, for actually driving up and down the interstate looking at rest areas. and the line of trucks lining up on the on and exit ramps of those rest areas. I appreciate it. It's a good effort. I think cities need to allow truck stops. They need to be more lenient about allowing truck stops into their cities. I think that's a big problem. The local ordinances are, I think, where our next step needs to be. I don't think it's state level. I don't think it's federal. I think it's the city ordinances that are the big problems. So I think that's our next step. Truck parking. We need truck parking, especially in the East Coast. I think as a society as a whole, there needs to be some type of culture shift about trucking, about truck drivers. It's funny when you go onto like Facebook, Instagram, and you'll watch a video and it'll be of a driver. He might be doing something. He's probably in the left lane for some reason and he's trying to pass somebody else. And it's taken him a little longer to get past him. There's two things that need to happen in that video, but everybody blames the guy in the passing lane. But there's actually two problems with that video. First one, the driver etiquette that we show each other is out the window. We need to start respecting ourselves if we want the rest of this country and the world to respect us. We don't even like each other. Like, have you guys noticed that the brotherhood and the sisterhood of this industry is just, it's dying. And it's very sad. But you'll see the video and you'll look at the comments and everybody's like, oh my gosh, I hate truckers. I hate truck drivers. They're slow. They're always in the way. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, sir, where do you have to be in such a rush? You are more dangerous on that road going 90 miles an hour than that driver just trying to pass the dude. That's being a jerk, by the way, that just doesn't take his foot off the pedal for like 10 seconds to let him get over quicker. Drivers, we need to do better. Let's be honest here. We sit here and demand respect from everybody. We can't even respect ourselves. Let's do better. Be courteous with each other. That's a whole tangent. I'm sorry. It's just like a little triggered. I'm sorry. I'm in a governed truck and it just annoys me. But yeah, there needs to be a culture shift, not only within the industry, but as society as a whole. There needs to be a huge shift on how we view drivers in this country. More respect, more courtesy. If you're driving right now, you're listening, just make sure you stay safe. If you're at home, whether you're on home time, you're retired, or taking a little break, hope you guys are doing well. Take care of yourselves, drivers. We got to take care of ourselves so we can help others. And I think that's kind of the projection of what we need to be doing to make this industry better. So anyways, thank you guys so much. If you guys are interested in more videos like this, please make sure to subscribe and I will see you guys next week. Take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.